Certainly, we're in escalation territory, and as we have more fatalities now from the US side, I think that puts Trump in a position where he naturally is having to escalate, even though he has been looking for an off ramp for some time. And one of the big decisions for Andy Burnham early on in this relationship with the US is what is his position when it comes to the US using UK bases for strikes.
President Trump has declared on Truth Social that the people of Aberdeen in Scotland are dancing in the streets, which is strange because we've had a WhatsApp from somebody who says it's not true and people in Aberdeen are not dancing in the streets today. Thank you for that, Lisa. But according to President Trump, this so-called Scottish flash mob is reacting to speculation that Andy Burnham is going to scrap the ban on North Sea oil drilling. Has the president misread the situation? And how might the Burnham-Trump relationship develop as we look ahead? It should be said that we do know that they have spoken. That's being reported. Katy Balls is Washington editor of The Times. Katy, do you know anything about this conversation between Messrs Burnham and Trump?
Yes, we were expecting it. We've now had White House officials confirm Times and other publications that the call has taken place. As for the contents, so far it's more a UK readout that Andy Burnham apparently invited Donald Trump to Manchester. And this comes after Andy Burnham suggested in an interview last week that the people of Manchester might take issue with Trump a few weeks ago, suggesting that Andy Burnham was the former mayor of a town, not a city.
Right. I mean, in fairness to Donald Trump, and I'm not usually all that fair to Donald Trump, he can't be expected to know the difference between a British city and a town. He's probably got quite a lot on his own American plate to comprehend and make sense of. So we will probably forgive him for that error, although not for much else, if you ask me. Will the relationship between Trump and Burnham be any different to that between Trump and Starmer? What do you think?
I mean, I think it would just naturally be different because there's two different personalities. And I think that everything we've heard from the Andy Burnham camp is they think that Keir Starmer spent too much time on foreign affairs and perhaps, when you read between the lines, was too deferential, too keen to do a charm offensive to the US president. So it's not so much that I think Andy Burnham is going in studs up. But I think it will be a slightly different attempt, at least, at how you deal with the UK-US relationship. Yeah.
But I mean, there's no denying that being the president of the Prime Minister, rather, of the UK at a time when Donald Trump is the president of the US is a uniquely difficult prime ministerial challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you look at the last time Donald Trump was in the White House and you had a conservative government, so you had Theresa May and Boris Johnson both dealing with Donald Trump. They both found it very difficult. Boris Johnson was also called Mini Trump, a fellow blonde, and yet his team said it was, even with the US president in theory on side, they've had having someone so unpredictable, changes their mind a lot, and come up with something which derails all your plans just like that. They find it very difficult. So I think that even when you take the political differences aside and you put that to one, put that aside for a second, he's still very difficult as a president to work out how to keep your premiership on track. And you add to the fact that I think there are various things that Andy Burnham has said that could put him on a collision course potentially with Donald Trump. Obviously, Donald Trump is focusing for now on energy. We know that the president is ambassador here in the UK to take issue with Ed Miliband and the net zero agenda, and they're hoping that Andy Burnham will go in a different direction. OK,
well, we'll talk about that in a moment, but just news beginning to seep out about prime ministerial appointments and indeed sackings. And we're told that Steve Reid has revealed he is no longer housing secretary. He has said in a letter he's disappointed to be leaving the government now. Andy Burnham, of course, entered Downing Street as prime minister just a couple of hours ago. So Steve Reid fired as housing secretary. We'll find out soon, no doubt, who's replacing him. Let's talk about drilling then. The president seems to think that Andy Burnham is definitely going to do it, and there is, to quote him, dancing on the streets of Aberdeen. But that may not be the case. The deputy leader of Labour Party, Lucy Powell, has told the BBC that there isn't what she calls a change of policy, but there is a change of emphasis, which I guess leaves it quite open. Katy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think what we have here is Trump has taken some of the reports and perhaps some of the briefings he's had and gone further than what the incoming Labour government or Burnham-led one wants to do. And is that Trump adding some mischief into the equation? Is it wishful thinking? Is it Trump trying to bounce the UK into taking a stronger stance? Potentially all of the above. But I think that Andy Burnham has at least signalled he's willing to go further than Keir Starmer in terms of some of the projects. What we haven't got from him is this idea of, fresh drilling. And this is an issue for the UK and the US, because I've had people ask, why does the US administration care so much about the energy policy of the UK, about North Sea oil? And ultimately, they believe that the UK is not wealthy enough as a country at the moment, is going in the wrong direction. And that means if you don't have that, you can't then fund things like defence that you need. And they directly link it to the UK's energy policy. So I think there'll be further pushing for Andy Burnham to go further. And it'll be interesting in these appointments to see where Ed Miliband goes. Perhaps not Chancellor, but is it Foreign Secretary? I think that's another potential tension point.
Right. And as you're here, the American assaults on Iran continue. Presumably there will be more tonight?
Well, that's been the pattern so far. I think it's a fool who predicts too much what Trump is going to do within any hour. But certainly we're in escalation territory. And as we have more fatalities now from the US side, I think that puts Trump in a position where he naturally is having to escalate, even though he has been looking for an off-ramp for some time. And one of the big decisions for Andy Burnham early on in this relationship with the US is, what is his position when it comes to the US using UK bases for strikes?
Thank you very much indeed for your time. Katy Balls, Washington editor of The Times. That will be interesting how Mr Burnham plays Mr Trump.
Steve Reed's departure from housing will mean we will have our 11th housing minister in 10 years, to be announced later today or tomorrow.